Breaking news. Former British royal, Prince Andrew, has officially been taken into police custody in the United Kingdom. BBC News historic interview. This marks a historic moment in the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, as a senior member of the British royal family now faces serious criminal allegations. For decades, Epstein ran a vast network of connections, shielded by wealth and influence. But now, the law is catching up. Prince Andrew has been charged with misconduct in public office, accused of sharing confidential government documents with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. This is not a casual association. It involves sensitive state information, documents that, if proven misused, could represent a severe breach of public trust. Prince Andrew has long denied wrongdoing and previously settled civil lawsuits, but UK authorities are now taking decisive action. Let's put this in context. Years ago, Prince Andrew gave a widely criticized interview with BBC News, attempting to explain his interactions with Epstein. Remember the infamous Pizza Express incident? At the time, many thought it was merely a PR disaster. Today, it's part of a larger, ongoing legal investigation. Historical missteps are now intersecting with active law enforcement. Police reports show investigators have reviewed thousands of documents and emails dating back to 2001 to 2011, when Prince Andrew was a trade envoy for the UK. Recent evidence has prompted his arrest, although the full details remain confidential. Experts suggest that the discovery of certain emails was the critical trigger for this action. This arrest sends a strong message. No one, not even royalty, is above the law. Public reaction has been intense. Social media is buzzing, and hashtags like Prince Andrew arrest are trending worldwide. Legal analysts note that while civil settlements previously shielded him, these criminal charges involving official documents are extraordinary. Former UK officials emphasize how unprecedented this is. Misconduct of this nature involving state secrets and a convicted sex offender is rare. The public is now watching how justice is applied to someone who once seemed untouchable. The implications are both legal and personal. Prince Andrew has been stripped of military titles and royal patronages, but facing criminal charges is arguably the most significant consequence of his connection to Epstein. For the first time, international media is covering him not for ceremonial events, but as a defendant in an active criminal investigation. This case also raises broader questions. How did Epstein maintain influence over high-profile individuals for decades? Were there warnings that were ignored? How will this affect public trust in institutions and the monarchy? These questions are now at the center of UK news coverage. Authorities are expected to interview multiple witnesses, examine financial records, and investigate communications. Every piece of evidence could reveal further connections to Epstein's network, potentially implicating others. Commentators on Adam Briefing emphasize the broader significance. They note that Andrew's arrest proves that accountability is finally reaching the elite. If a prince can be held responsible, the message to Epstein's entire network is clear. No one is untouchable. Adam Briefing. In conclusion, Prince Andrew's arrest marks the beginning of a cascade of legal actions. With historic references, official police statements, and expert commentary, this segment sets the stage for the wider Epstein investigation. This is only the beginning, and the world is watching closely.
Across the Atlantic, the United States is witnessing a dramatic escalation in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. Adam Briefing. The House Oversight Committee has issued subpoenas to Epstein's inner circle, compelling testimony from some of the most powerful individuals linked to his operations. Among those subpoenaed are Les Wexner, billionaire owner of Victoria's Secret, who financially supported Epstein's lifestyle for decades, and top lawyers Darren Indak and Richard Kahn, who managed Epstein's estate and were intimately aware of his criminal activities. For years, Epstein's network was shielded by wealth, influence, and secrecy. Victims and investigators have long argued that these figures were not mere bystanders. They enabled Epstein's crimes. Now, under legal orders, they are required to testify under oath, providing critical insight into the inner workings of Epstein's operations. The timing of these subpoenas comes amid heightened attention after Prince Andrew's arrest in the UK. Congressional leaders are emphasizing that this is not a political game, it's a legal and ethical responsibility to uncover the truth. The investigations focus on financial arrangements, communications, and networks of influence. Les Wexner's holdings, property ownership, and financial transactions with Epstein are being scrutinized to determine whether they facilitated criminal activity. Similarly, Epstein's lawyers are being questioned about their management of his estate and knowledge of illicit operations. This is a pivotal moment for accountability and justice. Congressional oversight ensures that wealth and power no longer provide immunity. For decades, Epstein's activities were protected by silence, settlements, and social status. Now, every individual who played a role in his network is being legally compelled to answer questions. Adam Briefing commentary notes that these subpoenas mark a shift from investigation to enforcement. Adam Briefing. Unlike prior efforts, which relied heavily on document reviews and civil suits, this stage directly challenges the people who enabled Epstein. They must now confront the law under oath or risk perjury charges. Public perception is changing rapidly. After decades of secrecy, these legal actions are exposing the structures that allowed Epstein to operate freely. Social media and mainstream news outlets are widely reporting these subpoenas, emphasizing that power and influence do not protect you from accountability. Political implications are significant. Current and former political figures connected to Epstein now face scrutiny. Congressional hearings are demanding transparency, and media coverage ensures that these developments reach a global audience. This pressure could uncover additional individuals involved in Epstein's network. Experts predict that testimonies may reveal hidden international connections, undisclosed communications, and the roles of other high-profile figures. The implications go beyond Epstein. This could reshape public understanding of elite accountability and systemic protection of powerful individuals. In summary, Segment 2 highlights the United States' response to the Epstein scandal. With subpoenas issued to billionaires and lawyers, rigorous oversight, and public scrutiny, the investigation is moving from speculation to actionable enforcement. This segment demonstrates that justice is now extending to the highest levels of influence, bridging the story between UK arrests and US legal action.
While arrests and subpoenas are finally happening, the Trump administration is facing serious scrutiny over its handling of the Epstein case. Adam Briefing. Claims of transparency and accountability are being challenged, both in court and in Congress. A federal judge recently rejected the administration's motion to unseal certain grand jury documents, calling the effort a smokescreen. The judge noted that the released documents contained no meaningful new information and described the attempt as more PR than substance. Former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi testified under oath that investigations are still ongoing, contradicting previous statements from the administration, claiming there was not enough evidence to pursue further action. This exposes a clear inconsistency between public claims and actual enforcement. Trump had publicly positioned himself as the advocate for exposing Epstein, promising transparency and full accountability. However, court findings and congressional reviews reveal a pattern of obstruction, selective disclosure, and political framing designed to create the appearance of action while shielding high-profile figures connected to Epstein. The contrast between claimed transparency and judicial assessment is stark. Documents released by the administration were heavily redacted, limiting their usefulness. The judge's ruling underscores that while the administration presented itself as open and accountable, in reality it blocked meaningful disclosure. The political implications are significant. Trump's credibility is now being questioned. Public perception is shifting as journalists, lawmakers, and victims groups highlight the gap between promises and actions. Analysts point out that obstruction, whether intentional or not, undermines the administration's image and fuels calls for accountability. Congressional subpoenas and court oversight now override the administration's selective control, ensuring that those who were previously shielded are brought under legal scrutiny. Individuals connected to Epstein are being compelled to testify under oath, provide documents, and answer for their actions. Ethically, the segment emphasizes the difference between appearance and reality. While Trump's administration portrayed itself as leading the fight against Epstein, investigative findings show that it was often resisting full accountability, protecting allies, and limiting transparency. Experts argue that this discrepancy raises questions about elite protection, political influence, and systemic bias. The implications extend to the American public, international observers, and political discourse. Trust in institutions relies on genuine transparency and enforcement of justice. When executive claims fail to match actions, institutional credibility suffers. This segment shows how executive statements, judicial rulings, and congressional oversight intersect to enforce accountability. Finally, Segment 3 situates the Trump administration within the broader Epstein narrative. With Prince Andrew arrested in Reed & Tay, Epstein's inner circle subpoenaed in the U.S., and court rulings exposing obstruction, the administration's role is now under scrutiny. These events illustrate that accountability is no longer optional, and that public and legal pressure can compel action, regardless of political influence. In conclusion, Segment 3 highlights the intersection of politics, law, and ethics in the Epstein files. Trump's claims of transparency are undermined, while judicial and congressional actions ensure that arrests, subpoenas, and investigations continue.
This segment closes the narrative arc, showing how enforcement and oversight are finally challenging power and influence in one of the world's most high-profile scandals.